For those who don't know me, I'm Mindy Lamb. I've known Rima since 25 years ago when we were both freshmen at the University of Kansas in Lawrence. We started college as young, eager, optimistic students. And college can be big and overwhelming, impersonal, as we have these huge lecture classes. Our honors program classes were smaller, and I remember wanting to be friends with the witty, bright, and beautiful girl sitting next to me. We shared an interest in science, and were both considering medicine as a career, so it was inevitable through those 4 years that our friendship developed. Looking back, I have no idea how we juggled everything that we did, from our classes to undergraduate research to the demands of the honors program, and then she had a whole social life with her Greek sorority too, on top of that. Rima was always prepared and always had a plan for what she wanted to do. I remember being amazed and envious that she had her medical school applications done so early, where I was more deadline-oriented. And then we shopped for interview clothes, like the first time we ever had to buy adult clothes, and being so thankful for her sense of style. We were both excited to start medical school after college, and she stayed in Kansas when I moved to St. Louis. Medical school is hard enough, and keeping in touch with friends is even harder. Rima always found a way to keep in touch with me. She would call me when we were on break at my parents' house, and we would talk for hours. Even when she was in Florida in different time zones, she found a way to get a hold of me. We were always able to pick right up where we left off, even if it had been months since we had talked last. Rima was interested in anesthesia, and we were both so excited when she matched residency in St. Louis, where I was, at WashU. And it was incredibly bittersweet that she moved to St. Louis right as I was moving away to Denver. But I had no doubt that we would stay in touch and that our paths would cross again someday. She always wanted to live in sunny California, where she was born, and naturally made it happen after residency, finding a practice here in Sacramento. Fast forward another half a dozen years, and we were both married with children. She found out I was moving to Boston for my husband's fellowship, and she introduced me to her sister, Alicia, who was also moving to Boston at the same time. And as usual, Rima was looking out for both Alicia and me, doing her best to ensure that we both would have a friend and a connection in a new city. Despite living on opposite coasts, I was lucky to see her whenever she visited Alicia. We would go out to dinner, and as usual, Rima would light up the room with her charm and wit. I've learned so much from Rima over the course of our friendship. Her strength, determination, and grace as she battled her health issues. Her unwavering love for her family and friends. Her incredible style and sense of humor. These are qualities that one never learns from classes or school, which Rima naturally possessed in abundance. My life, our lives, have been so enriched by her friendship, and I will forever miss my brilliant friend.
Hi, my name is Maria Philippone. I met Rima in medical school. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to share my Rima with you today. I hope I do justice by her. Rima was such a remarkable, beautiful human being inside and out that words are not enough, but I will try my best. I've struggled with what to say ever since Alan invited me to speak, so I thought I would do it through a letter to Eva. Dear Eva, your mama was a force of nature. You don't need to look far for evidence. Your mama survived so much. She fought so hard. She lived through horrible illnesses and complications when just about all of us would not survive. but you know all this. And I'm sure you know her love for you is what gave her the strength to fight so hard. I got to know your mama in the fall of 1995 in our first semester of medical school. Until Rima, I had never developed such a close friendship so quickly with someone. Your mama was absolutely the smartest and wittiest person in every room she entered. She was so funny and sarcastic, I cannot think about her without laughing or smiling. She was kind, she kept my secrets, she had my back. Dear girl, you are lucky that the latest research shows that children inherit their intelligence from their mothers. No pressure. Dear Eva, you also know your mother had razor sharp wit. And just after this little bit of getting to know you, I think you inherited that too. So good for you. She always made everybody laugh in medical school. We were under extreme pressure with the workload, but Rima always knew how to make light of things and make everybody laugh. She handled the stress very well. I used to make fun of her in medical school because every disease we learned about, she worried she had it. Talking her out of some illnesses were easier than others. For example, prostatitis. You don't have a prostate, girl. It was a running joke amongst our friends that whatever we learned about in pathology today, Rima would have tomorrow. I finally told her when she was on the transplant list not too long ago that I was sorry I ever made fun of her hypochondriasis. She had a really good laugh at that. Rima was good friends with my husband Bob as well. He always called her Dreamy. She was very special to him. She is the classmate, the only one we've kept in touch with from medical school. Bob and I came here for your mom and dad's wedding. She was so beautiful and happy on her wedding day. She was so in love with your dad, and we were so happy for her. She finally found what she was looking for. Eva, I remember when she called me to tell me she was pregnant with you, she was thrilled. I remember when she had you, she was enchanted with you. You were her heart and soul. She was so very proud of you. She was frustrated that she was often sick and she wanted to be able to do more with you. But I want you to know her love for you will go on no matter what. Her love for you cannot be erased or decreased just because she's not here physically. I'm really glad I finally got to meet you in real life. I feel like I know you from all your mama shared with me about you. I want you to know that I will always have your back as your mama had mine. I want you to know that I will be here for you in whatever way you allow me to be. I am so glad you have your dad and your aunts and uncles and your grandparents here with you. Eva, your mama was so special. It is really unfair, so unfair she is gone. The best way to honor her memory is to continue to live and do all you want with your one wild and precious life. Your mama lived her one wild and precious life to the fullest. I want to close with some words that I find comforting. Perhaps some of you will as well. Aaron Freeman is a writer, and I'd like to paraphrase some of his work. Here it goes. You want a physicist to speak at your funeral. You want the physicist to talk to your grieving family about the conservation of energy, so they will understand that your energy has not died. You want the physicist to remind your sobbing mother about the first law of thermodynamics, that no energy gets created in the universe and none is destroyed. You want your mother to know that all your energy, every vibration, every BTU of heat, every wave of particle that was her beloved child remains with her in this world. You want the physicist to tell your weeping father that amid energies of the cosmos, you gave as good as you got. And at one point, you'd hope the physicist would step down from the pulpit and walk to your broken-hearted spouse there in the pew and tell him that all the photons that ever bounced off your face, all the particles whose paths were interrupted by your smile, by the touch of your hair, hundreds of trillions of particles have raced off like children, their ways forever changed by you. And as your daughter rocks in the arms of a loving family, may the physicist let her know that all the photons that bounced from you were were gathered in the particle detectors that are her eyes, that those photons created within her constellations of electromagnetically charged neurons whose energy will go on forever. And the physicist will remind the congregation of how much of all of our energy is given off as heat. There may be a few fanning themselves with their programs, as he says it. And he will tell them that the warmth that flowed through you in life is still here, still part of all that we are, even as we who mourn continue the heat of our own lives. You'll want the physicist to explain to those who loved you that they need not have faith. Indeed, they should not have faith. Let them know that they can measure, that scientists have measured precisely the conservation of energy and found it accurate, verifiable, and consistent across space and time. You can hope your family will examine the evidence and satisfy themselves that the science is sound and that they'll be comforted to know your energy is still around. According to the law of the conservation of energy, not a bit of you is gone. You're just less orderly. Amen.
Hi, my name is Sanjani, and Rima was basically my sister. I met her first through work and was immediately drawn to her wit, intelligence, charm, and vivacious personality. Little did we know then that years later our lives would shatter together and that we would become each other's pillars of hope and strength. Ironically, Rima and I were both diagnosed with cancer on the same day, June 29th, 2012. She with lymphoma and I with breast cancer. We began to reach out to each other in desperation and hope, and we became each other's sisters in this ugly cancer club we had both joined, kicking and screaming. Part of the tragedy I now know as a cancer survivor is knowing, meeting, and loving others who are in the same club with you that won't be as lucky. And I've realized that avoiding profound grief is not possible once you join the cancer club. Having cancer at a younger age was especially difficult for Rima and I, as we were both independent, feisty, carefree girls who suddenly lost our independence and were forced to rely on those we loved, and even confined to bed and hospitals, as Rima often was. This was a hard pill for both of us to swallow. We didn't know how to conduct ourselves in this new life that was so unjustly thrust upon us. We began to take classes at Wellness Within in Roseville. There we met Patty Brown, the founder. We both came to love and admire her as she gave us so much strength, peace, and love. She helped us navigate the emotional pain of cancer that neither Rima nor I knew what to do with. The loss of identity, the loss of having faith in life, and the mistrust of your bodies, to name a few. Patty also kept us accountable and would hold us to the fire when we were falling short of the heights she knew we could reach. Because she loved us and she wanted the world for us, and we thought the world of her. It wasn't always easy being with Patty because she would tell it like it was. And Rima and I would often laugh and ask each other if we had been Pattified lately. But if it weren't for Patty, we would have been totally lost. As we struggled along, Rima and I always found our laughter to be the best medicine. And we realized that the why me question became unimportant and we would never have the answer. But having cancer taught us both to live, especially Rima. And living is a verb, and I am here to say Rima did live. She became so hungry for knowledge, love, spirituality, and peace. She knew she could not wait to live as many of us do, We wait for the perfect job, the perfect house, to lose the weight, or even to reach a certain age before we finally allow ourselves to live. Rima had the gift of knowing the time to live was now, because none of us are promised tomorrow. She blossomed and grew and kept searching for her calling in life, because she knew she could never go back into the system that had mistreated her so much. And as sick as she was, she began to volunteer with hospice. She wanted to be there for others, be an advocate, be a solace for others, and in doing so, finding healing and finding out who she was for the very first time in her life. It goes without saying, but Rima was always there for me. When I called her utterly distraught because my hair had fallen out from chemo, she met me later that day with others to have my head shaved, even though she was so sick herself. She then loaned me her wig, who we affectionately named Angelina. And we often laughed about the adventures of Angelina. And when I woke up one day looking like E.T. because my eyebrows and eyelashes had fallen out, I knew I had to call Rima and she would know what to do. And the diva that she was, she said, "Go to Sephora and buy such and such eyebrow pencil." And she was right as usual. She never gave up her strength, beauty, charisma, and humor, and she carried me with her. I admired her so much for her will to live and her deep desire to find the meaning of her life and earthly existence. No one else I've ever known did so much to heal and search for true enlightenment. She attended countless classes and workshops to meet like-minded people and grow in her spirituality and healing. She met Eckhart Tolle and other amazing spiritual leaders in her quest to come to terms with the cards she had been so cruelly dealt. We met almost every week, and she would always greet me with her beautiful smile, sparkling eyes, and say, "There is my Sanjani." I will miss that for the rest of my life. The last 6 weeks of her life, she had grown very weak and lost a lot of weight. So we spent our time together laying in bed, holding hands, laughing, crying, and sharing as we always did. It never occurred to me that these would be our last moments together. I thought we were two tough Indian sisters that would grow old together. The last time I saw her, she asked me a question she had never asked me before. "Sanjani, are you happy?" And I said, "Yes, Rima, I'm the happiest I've ever been." I think she knew she would be leaving me soon and needed to know that I was all right. All of us here were lucky and blessed to have known Rima. And if I could live my life again, I would have found her sooner so I could have loved her longer. I would like to end by thanking Alan, Sushma, Raj, and Alicia for giving me the honor to be with her during her last hours. I truly was blessed and honored to be there. And lastly, I would like to end by quoting Stuart Scott, who was an ESPN sportscaster, whose life was also cut short by cancer at the age of 49. "You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and the manner in which you live." And I stand here proudly, here today to tell all of you that Rima beat cancer in every manner. Thank you.